Washington insiders and so-called journalists are having a little bit of a meltdown after a comedian decided to dare make some jokes against people in power. Now, Saturday night marked the White House Correspondents Dinner. Now, that dinner, of course, is basically where people in power and members of the media get together and they basically kiss each other's ass. So, understand, I got no love for the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Now, of course, you can't have a dinner without a good roast. And look, during the Obama years, for example, there were some excellent roasts from some excellent comics. You also had some excellent roasts during the Bush administration as well. So, this year, it fell to Michelle Wolf, who decided that she was not going to pull any punches, or she was definitely not going to go easy on the Trump administration. In fact, I've got a video here of her roasting Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And look, this is awesome, so take a look.
With Sarah's presence tonight, I have to say I'm a little starstruck. I love you as Aunt Lydia on The Handmaid's Tale. Mike Pence, if you haven't seen it, you would love it. Every time Sarah steps up to the podium, I get excited because I'm not really sure what we're going to get. You know, a press briefing, a bunch of lies, or divided into softball teams. It's shirts and skins, and this time don't be such a little bitch, Jim Acosta. Like Sarah, I think she's very resourceful. Like, she burns facts, and then she uses that ash to create a perfect smoky eye. Like, maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's lies. It's probably lies. And I'm never really sure what to call Sarah Huckabee Sanders. You know, is it Sarah Sanders? Is it Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Is it Cousin Huckabee? Is it Auntie Huckabee Sanders? Like, what's Uncle Tom but for white women who disappoint other white women? Oh, I know, Aunt Coulter.
All right, so look, there were some pretty good jabs in there. Now, there's a lot of controversy over the smoky eye. Dude, it's his makeup. But anyway, so look, obviously, some of those jokes were over the line about Sarah Huckabee Sanders, not to mention, apparently, the jokes about abortion and the fact that she said the word pussy. Oh my God, I just said it. Oh my God. No. Oh, here we go. I'm going to get censored, guys. That's what's going to happen. I said the word. Oh, man. Look, the Washington freakout is epic. Now, first, let me go to some examples of this, right? Now, Sean Spicer decided to poke his head out of the bushes long enough to call Wolf's routine, quote, a disgrace on Twitter. Lovely. You also have National Security Advisor John Bolton, who took time out of his busy weekend of planning an attack on Iran and while playing Call of Duty, because of course, to go on Fox News Sunday to call this bit reprehensible. Oh, this is such a terrible thing. Chris Christie said Wolf had unfairly attacked Sarah Huckabee Sanders on her physical appearance. Now, to be fair, Chris Christie probably has a little bit of experience with that. I know, out of bounds. I denounce and reject myself for that absolutely terrible, unfair joke against Chris Christie's physical appearance. Now, you also had Drudge. Yes, Drudge. Their banner headline says, Smut stand-up shocks DC. Oh my God, Smut, it's so terrible. Look at this terrible stuff that she was saying. Now, Trump also weighed in from Michigan, since he was too much of a wuss to actually show up to the White House Correspondents' Dinners. Instead, he needed to be surrounded by adoring fans chanting his name because, look, the guy can't stand being made fun of in person. He said, this was on Twitter, while Washington, Michigan was a big success, Washington, D.C. just didn't work. Well, that's interesting. Everyone is talking about the fact that the White House Correspondents' Dinner was a very big, boring bust. The so-called comedian really bombed. Fox's Greg Gutfeld should host next year. And for some reason, he tags in Pete Hegseth from Fox and Friends. Again, this is the guy he lets calls in, he lets this guy call in from Fox News. Amazing, right? Now, oh yes, let's have Greg Gutfeld. I'm sure that would work out greatly, considering that he's actually not funny. You know who else isn't funny? Dennis Miller. Now, Dennis Miller decided to weigh in as well. He said, quote, "What a horrid human being Michelle Wolf is. I'm going to read up on her over the next couple of days, and I will have a few brutally mean jokes about her by Wednesday." That's a long time to wait for a joke. I mean, you're on Twitter, you could just write up a joke right there. But of course, I'm sure he's so busy with his amazing stand-up career and his endless job opportunities to be able to take time to do that, right? Right. Now, it's not just right-wing snowflakes that are melting. Of course, you have people from the left that are attacking her as well. You have Maggie Haberman, the New York Times, saying, quote, "That press secretary sat and absorbed intense criticism of her physical appearance. Where was that?" Again, there's the reference to smoky eye. But again, that's makeup. That's not an attack on her physical appearance. Wearing makeup. A lot of people wear makeup. But again, apparently that's a horrific, brutal criticism of her physical appearance. Oh my God. Her job performance, and so forth, instead of walking out on national television, was impressive. I actually thought the makeup joke was pretty good. She burns facts and uses the ashes as makeup. That's brilliant. That's clever. No, look, that's not a physical attack. What it is, or a personal attack on her appearance, I should say, that's calling her out as basically a liar. She takes facts and she gets rid of them. She burns them up. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's lies. It's lies. It's lies. You know why? Because she's a liar, and she lies all the time, and she does it with a straight face. Tell me that's not true. Tell me that's not true, and tell it to me with a straight face. I guarantee you can't do it. She's such an obvious liar. But there's more. There's more reactions. Politico's Jake Sherman said that it went too far. Just too far. It's too far. It's so mean-spirited. It's supposed to be a lighthearted affair, but you're making it so mean. Why are you going to be so mean to people in power? Oh, my God. This media frustrates me, man. Finally, you've got New York Times' Peter Baker. He said, "I would vote to leave the comedy acts to comedy shows and stick to journalism at journalism dinners." Well, to be fair, Peter, you would have to do journalism first. I think in this context, in the context of media relation with Washington, that a comedy act is perfectly appropriate. Because right now, the media, the mainstream media, the corporate media is nothing more than a joke, and a bad one at that. I mean, what you have is nonstop Stormy Daniels and Russia. And you also have media outlets that refused to hold the president accountable and to hold Republicans and Democrats accountable for the shitty things that they pass. I mean, they call it great bipartisanship when two sides vote together to fuck over the American people, to screw them out of something. Oh, great bipartisanship. No, it's not. Bipartisan pretty much means both sides have gotten together to help their wealthy donors and to screw over regular Americans. So the whole bipartisan thing is just bullshit. They don't talk about super important issues. They don't talk about climate change nearly enough. They don't talk about stagnant wages and poverty in America. Not nearly enough. They don't talk about the bombing of Yemen that we're still doing right now. All the drone strikes that we're doing. How the increasing casualties that we have from those drone strikes are made up they're majority made up of civilians. Civilians are the ones that are being bombed for the most part in these drone strikes. But no, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about Flint still not having drinkable water. So that's why the media is a joke. Now, there's one more last thing, right? So White House Correspondents Association President Margaret Tlaib told the Associated Press after the blow up, after all the conservative butt hurt and the liberal tears, right? Supposed liberal tears, anyway. They went on a full-throated apology to her for this. She said, quote, "Last night's program was meant to offer a unifying message about our common commitment to a vigorous and free press while honoring civility, great reporting, and scholarship winners, not to divide people." She then went on to tell Politico, "My goal in putting together last night's dinner was to unify the room and the country around journalism and the First Amendment," which, look, those are both things that I wholeheartedly support. "And I shared what I believe about those subjects in my own remarks. The association by tradition does not preview or censor the entertainer's remarks. Some of them made me uncomfortable and did not embody the spirit of the night, and that is protected by the First Amendment. I appreciated Sarah Sanders for joining us at the head table and her grace through the program." You know what that whole thing means? Both of those statements are essentially her saying, we're so sorry. But we don't actually vet the entertainers. We didn't know she was going to say those terrible, terrible things about Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And please, just don't remove our access. That's the thing that's most important to us, is access to the politicians. We don't care how slimy they are. We don't care how often they lie. We don't care how much they attack the media. We want our access. We need our access. Please don't remove it. And that's the biggest problem here that I have with cable news. Access, right? How they just line up in order to have that access. Look, that's why she's being criticized. Michelle Wolf is. That's why also Stephen Colbert was criticized when he roasted the Bush administration. And that was an epic-ass roast. But look, again, all they want is access for the politicians. So that's why they don't like you to rock the boat. It's funny because old media thinks that, no, if we get these politicians in here to say their talking points, and then we bring in a Democrat to say their talking points, and then it's, well, I mean, Democrats say this, Republicans say that. You decide. We're just giving you both points of view. Look at how neutral we are. Well, they think that's going to bring them ratings. But, see, they've always felt that way. Now it's actually getting worse under Trump. And now the media is even getting more deferential to people under Trump because now the administration is full of snowflakes who basically complain, who melt every time somebody makes a joke. Now there's some hypocrisy in that, of course, because the Trump administration, look, for Trump himself, for example, he mocked Megyn Kelly. Now, I have no love for Megyn Kelly, right? But nonetheless, here's Trump saying, oh, you got blood. She's got blood coming out of her eyes or wherever. And look, he also made fun of a disabled reporter, or look, all the other myriad of shots that Trump and members of the administration have made against the media. It's hypocritical to sit there and defend them when they say horrific things about everybody else. But when a comedian says some things that, are a little racy or whatever, little inappropriate against the administration as a joke, well, I mean, can't have that. It's ridiculous, right? I think at this point, in my opinion, the White House Correspondents' Dinners deserves to die. And look, the reason, and I was reading Axios about this, Mike Allen, which look, I normally agree with, but in this case, he's like, well, I mean, they shouldn't have done that because you just handed the administration a gigantic win, because now all we're going to do is sit there and have a debate on whether or not they're going to kill the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Kill it already. And here's why, right? All the White House Correspondents' Dinner ever was is a place where the media and politicians can sit there and schmooze with each other. That's all it is. where they kiss each other's ass. And, oh, they talk about access. And that's it. It's ridiculous, right? So no, the White House Correspondents Dinner does deserve to die. Not because of what Wolf had actually said, but perhaps, maybe in spite of it. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.